All right, Roman, finally we get to do this. There was so much from GTC, but I guess it's just the world of AI. There's always, every single day, even today, there's a million new things. So today we're going to talk about something where I feel like it's a bit calmer. We're going to talk about product, where you're one of the smartest people within Nebius and in the space. Let's go, yeah. You don't like the praise. You don't.
Yeah,
you hate
yeah.
the praise.
Don't grow the expectations. Like that's.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Roman, who knows a thing or two about AI. Okay, so let's go into it right now. The current situation, what makes it difficult for people on X and on Wall Street in general, according to you, to kind of understand the AI infrastructure market? Do you see a couple of takes right now where maybe like you haven't commented, but you're like, what are they talking about? This is just wrong.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's not that like people are wrong in something. I think that, in my view, the key, and honestly, we in Nebius struggle a little bit because of that as well, is just the market is super messy, super complex. It's not yet, structured in a way. Like, take an example. There is a term neocloud, and there is this famous semi-analysis cluster max thing when they put like everyone in these like tiers, and there are like 100 providers in their rating, right? Mm-hmm. And then, but if you look in what people are doing in details, mm-hmm. a lot of them are doing slightly different things or significantly different things. Someone is focusing on, I don't know, just physical infrastructure, mm-hmm. like even just data center build outs. Yeah. Some of them at all don't control the infrastructure, don't own the infrastructure, and they play kind of aggregator or marketplace. And some are in between. Some of the players work primarily with the large hyperscalers only to provide infrastructure to them. Some, like Nebius, for example, have more diversified kind of portfolio. Some cannot work with the large customers because they don't have enough capacity, and it's completely different business as well. So, I mean, when you just come to the market and you're like, oh, who's doing AI infrastructure? You got like plenty of names. And by the way, I know that you guys in X like to debate about Iran against CoreWeave against Nebius. I think like it's even not the most different businesses in the world. We all have something different, and of course we in Nebius believe that we do something kind of outstanding. But people in CoreWeave probably also think that they do something outstanding, and people in Iran think that they do something outstanding. It's not about that. But what I'm trying to say that just in general the landscape is so complicated and so dynamic, and everything is changing. And it's just like when you try to understand what's going on and who's doing what, it's difficult. So I think this is the main thing, and it's natural in a way. So it's just the stage of the market. I think in a couple years from now we'll see much more consolidation, much more kind of segmentation, when people like Gartner will help enterprises to understand, and people like who look at the public market will help understand. I think a lot of VCs doing great job to kind of structure the marketplace map and help people understand how to think about the supply chain, how to think about the value chain. But it will take time, and if you're just a new investor, for example, coming to this area, or AI infrastructure is something like really attractive and important, it just takes time to figure out things. So I think this is the main kind of the main barrier now to have better structured view on what's going on.
Yeah. Just one comment on like the comparisons. I feel like often on X when I write something, I don't even like comparing these stocks, but it's difficult because every time I write about Nebius, people bring up all these other investments because I want to talk about the stuff that they're invested in. And then when I make a post that I feel like Nebius cloud offering is proven and live, and there is an actual cloud, and often I say things like certain companies don't have a proven cloud yet because it's literally not ready to use. I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying I would like to see them execute. And then people get angry because they feel like I'm hating on those companies, and I'm not. I'm just saying it's not live.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to go there.
Let's not. You should not comment.
My view is just a little bit different. I think there is just quite complex like value chain in this market, and there are a lot of great companies that just do different things, and there are a lot of probably good business models on this market, just because the market is so fast growing and attractive, and you can do different things and be successful. So I don't think that everybody should build a full cloud, for example. I don't think that everybody should build Inference platform to be successful. I don't think that everybody should double down on software like we do to be successful. It's just different business. It's just different business model. You can help market to solve other constraints. Like you can work on energy, you can work on like physical infrastructure, you can work on application layer and developer platform layers, and don't control the infrastructure. You can build marketplace and help people to buy infrastructure from others. It's all valuable. It's all makes sense. It just the question comes like how to compare like apples with oranges.
Yeah, I see. You're much more positive sum. You mentioned Inference. Let's move over to positive sum. Let's move over to Inference. So the world is moving very fast towards Inference. This was expected, right? We've kind of many people that wanted to invest in Nebius over the last 12 months were like attracted to the thesis, like, hey, Inference is exploding, and I want something that is an even more aggressive bet on Inference than NVIDIA, which many Nebius investors are also or used to be NVIDIA investors, and so the explosion of Inference is really kind of what many of us got into this space. And so I would like to know your kind of what are your thoughts about the role and split of training and inference? Is it any interesting insights there, or is it just as simple as saying like, okay, training is still important, models will get bigger, but inference workloads are just gonna take over as models get more useful? Or is there like some like bigger secret or like insight you can add?
No, it's a good question. First of all, I think there were like a lot of people at the market who were thinking that training will start kind of getting to plateau. Like, why do we need more models? Why do we need like so diversified models if we have great frontier models, we have great open source models? Why would people train at all? And it's not happening. I must say we have insane demand from people who train models still, and it's not slowing down. So this is first. So this workload is growing. We see, and you can observe it. Like you can look at all these neo labs kind of started in the last 12 months. Let's say you can look at how much things happening in industries like physical AI or life science. So we continue to see new great teams coming to this space and building something meaningful. I think like world models is like one of the trends. Like a lot of new companies. Jan LeCun started this large new lab in Europe. to build the world models and so on. So this is one. Second, inference obviously is growing also, and inference is growing much. Inference is growing much faster pace, but it started from the lower numbers. And the interesting thing about inference that inference is still kind of concentrated. So think on what would be the share of the share of all the tokens in the world generated by Anthropic. Like we know how fast Anthropic is growing, right?
Very
so I don't know for sure, but I would say that my intuition that inference could be even more concentrated today than training. So the you have Cursor, and handful of other non-super labs, kind of non-hyperscalers players that growing extremely fast and generate a lot of tokens. You have frontier models like Anthropic, OpenAI, or X that generate, or Gemini, that generate a lot of tokens. And my intuition that the concentration in inference may be even higher than in training, which is not obvious.
It's not obvious, but what is your why do you think that is?
No, just because you have just a few really successful companies yet that really grow large numbers. What is important that the population of the customers or the players who do inference is much larger than training. There are times or tens times or hundreds times more people who actually do inference, like actually run something and not, but they're not necessarily training. And the most important trend that we see now, that the population of, let's say, customers that fast growing, they are not yet on the big numbers. And again, we have one use case that works extremely good, is coding. And like if you I think it was a lot of analytics around that if you look in the total number of the tokens generated, the tokens generated in the coding use case is significantly higher than anywhere else. And so, but this is only one use case. And what I'm happy about is we see a lot of new customers coming to this market. We see them, even if they start small, they are growing. It takes time for people to find their use case, if it's startup, or to reshape their product around AI capabilities, Gen AI capabilities, if it's existing business. But then when they did it, they start growing very fast. And like the expectation is obvious that long-term inference will be much higher than training. It's obvious, but it's also won't be super concentrated, because you will have the market of people who can run inference at scale is, I don't know, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands companies. The market of people who will run training on reasonable scale is much lower. So for us as a business, the inference bet is obviously very important, I would say even a stronger word is existential, because this will be the diversified market. This will, you can have like lucrative deals with some large training customers, but at the end of the day, if you want to build diversified, stable cloud business, when it's not just serving few customers, it will be around building real products and inference as a key use case.
And is there also some strategic value of being the platform where people train their models, because then you also more
of
like
course
the platform
no,
where
but
they run
yeah, of course
is that the idea?
no it
or
first
is that
of all,
part of the idea?
Yeah, of course, there are a lot of use cases when you control both of use cases, you can create like better value for the customer. The example that you gave, that people start training and then they need to run it. Another example, we are in the capacity constraint world, and think one customer has training and inference. It's actually a big value for the customer to be able to run it in the same compute pool, because these workloads have different profiles. Training is quite stable, but it may not be 100% utilization. Inference, in many cases, is quite spiky. So you sometimes you have more customers or more tokens, sometimes you have less customers. And then think, if you can combine it in the same compute pool and orchestrate smart, then at the moment when you have spike in inference, you can kind of borrow capacity from training, and you can utilize it.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And this is just an example, but in general, long term, I think there will be a lot of customers who, and think other way around.
Yeah.
For example, you run a lot of inference, but then, and you not necessarily do a big training, but imagine the flywheel when you have a system that improves the model based on the use case, right? So you run inference, you generate the data, you see what works, what not, you get feedback from the customers, and then you can tune the model to behavior better, right? And then think like you have a system that is just a flywheel. It happens without you. It just sees the outputs, and then you can again do a smart orchestration of compute when you have these relatively small training jobs that you run at the moment when inference is not fully utilizes the compute allocation. So there are a lot of things that can happen when you have observability and you control both of the workloads. So even long run, there is a lot of advantages, but short term, training is a great business. There are
understood. I'm convinced. I see there's many reasons.
Yeah, there are a lot of great customers that we happy to work with and support them in their like work to train the model. So for us, it's not the question of this or that. We should meet the customers with the workloads they need and support them with the best kind of service. Like what we don't want to do is to lag behind and to kind of stuck on some level of the service when the new workloads require the new capabilities and we don't support them. So that's why inference kind of important. Because
we have so much to talk about. We gotta move on. We gotta talk about Token Factory.
Sure.
So can you give us like a quick status update on Token Factory? I think this is one of the launches that you and your team are probably most excited about. Like, quick update maybe? How's it going?
Yeah, of course. So first of all, just to remind what is Token Factory. Token Factory is the managed inference platform. So this is the platform built around the idea that a lot of teams don't want to even touch the infrastructure for inference. They want to focus on what is happening in the product, and they want to outsource to their infrastructure partner the piece of infrastructure. And the infrastructure in this case is not only kind of compute, but it also the models optimization, the model scalability, all the magic tricks you can do to improve the performance of the models, do caching, do routing, like all the things. So this is what this product about. And we launched it like early Q4, I think, last year, as a product that addresses this scaled inference tasks. We were focusing last 6 months on getting it to the market, win the first customers, start building repeatability, and start growing. And I'm super positive on what's going on. It was a good. It is a good run. We had a lot of great customers, and I wanted just to give a few examples, because I think what is important about this is the diversity of the use cases and the types of the customers that we can support. So, like just 3 completely different examples. We have, I think we publicly spoke about it. We have Revolut, which is the large European like digital bank. And this is a great example of how AI adoption happening at all, because they have a quite strong in-house team, and they started applying AI in different products, customer-facing products and internal processes quite a time ago. They started as many people from OpenAI or Anthropic. So they were one of the large customers of frontier closed models. They started to see what they can create in the company with the help of the Gen AI. And then there was even a funny post from their head of AI when OpenAI gave this like you consume trillion tickets, you consume billion tickets. They provided to their key customers such a physical awards, that they consume a lot of tokens. And there was a funny post from head of AI of Revolut. They said, "Oh, I take it as a challenge because I don't want to be I don't want to consume the trillion of tokens of OpenAI. For me, it's not. It's a motivation to walk away because it's expensive." And
yeah, literally saying, "Congrats, you're giving me so much money. Congratulations to you." It's like it's not a compliment.
So they put a lot of efforts on in the use cases that they proved are working with the Gen AI. To actually, they didn't walk away from frontier models. They complemented them with open source models, and we were helping them in putting it in production. So, and they started small. So they 4 months ago, I don't want to share the numbers, but they literally were a very small customer. But we understood, because we knew their roadmap, that they will grow and they will grow high. Yeah. And now every month, every couple months, they come to us with a new use case, with a new product that they kind of launching, with a new process internally that they are changing, and they need more and more and more support, and they integrate different models and so on. And this is kind of, for me, a very representative type of the customer. It's not AI startup. It's existing company with existing business, with existing products, and they built internal capabilities and internal team to improve those products with the help of open source models. And they look at us as the infrastructure partner, that they don't need to think about how to optimize the next, Minimax 2.5 or how to test.
They can focus on the product.
5 models against themselves and choose the best one from cost, performance, quality standpoint. They just can use us, our platform, and just focus on what they need. So this is the first example, and I'm super excited. And we have a lot of customers like them.
Real quick, the people who listen, Roman cannot share the numbers, but the numbers are actually available. I think at least Nebius posted them publicly on X, so you can go look that up if you want to see the numbers. It's pretty.
I don't think we shared the business.
Not the revenue numbers, but there was I think at GTC somebody from Revolut had a talk.
Yeah, we had we had a talk about from Revolut at GTC, and we had the case study together, telling their story. But again, I think the Revolut is quite an archetype of ideal customer for Token Factory, They will never be a large customer of training, by the way. They do a lot, like they do some training with us, but they will never be a large customer of training, but they will be a large customer of interest, like just incredibly large. So this is first. The second example, there was one customer that was running Inference at Nebius, and they managed Inference themselves. So they just rented GPUs from us, and they were running their Inference. And they're quite technical, deep technical team. They were super high expertise, and they were running quite a large Inference on us. And then we came to them and said, look, we have this managed Inference platform, and we can optimize your use case, your model, better than you do. They didn't believe us, and then we ran the POC. We did some work, and we showed them that we can. Yeah, and we showed them that we can improve the performance of their use case like 20-25% against quite a high baseline that they had, because it was their business to optimize their models. And guess what? We transitioned them from just renting GPUs to using Token Factory as a managed service. Guess what? They could run the same workload on 20% less GPUs. So it's direct impact on their business. They could just save cost. Guess what? They didn't return any GPU. They just grew. They could convert this efficiency in just serving more customers with the same budget. And now this is like the customer that is growing with Token Factory. And this is also quite an archetype. The funny thing about them, we even told them what we did. We even told them what techniques we used to optimize their model, but they could not replicate it. They could not. We literally told them what is the setting we implemented, but just because we invest a lot in like tech, how to do it. We have some like recipes in-house and so on. Even when they knew what kind of technique brings the value, they could not replicate it, which was quite.
As an investor, I love to hear that.
It's this is the value of the platform. And by the way,
and the talent.
It's good for them. It's good for them. At the end of the day, they can be sure that we keep them on the frontier of performance, and they can again focus on what they build in the product. And
for the audience, maybe an important thing to mention here is I feel like this is a great example of like Jevons paradox, right? Because we had many of those DeepSeek moments. People are like, oh, it's getting cheaper. Oh no! But like what you just described is like basically as it gets cheaper, they consume more because the ROI
honestly,
is higher, not lower, higher.
Of course. I told you we are quite sold out, and honestly, even if they would say, okay, now we will return you some GPU, like we don't need all those GPUs that we rented, we would be okay because we would just have more GPUs to serve other customers.
Like,
but it didn't. It never happened. They just they kept everything they had, and they just grew. So
of course, if they have some expected ROI on what they're renting with you, and now the ROI is higher, of course you want to spend more.
So this is another example. And the third example that is happening often recently, we are not the only inference provider in the market. There are a few other quite great companies who started earlier and do a great job, like Fireworks, Baystand, Together AI. And I have a lot of
marketing tried Nebius 4 months ago.
Alan joined us a few weeks ago, and I have a lot of respect to them. They do a great job. We partner with them. Some of them are using like we are the multi-layer
cake
product, right? And for example, some of them actually the customers of our cloud business, they run their platforms on top of our cloud. So we know them good, and we have a lot of respect, and we know how incredible they are.
Yeah.
But what's happening in the last few months, the market went so crazy, and the capacity constraints are so high that even the customers that already settled on some of the inference providers and growing, they need more capacity. And we start seeing a lot of customers coming to us that already run on some of the great inference providers, and they want to have like the second leg or the third leg, just because they cannot grow fast enough. And it gives us a lot of opportunities actually to compare the performance also, because they come to us, they say, hey, this is what I need, this is what I get from other providers, can you match it from performance perspective? The good thing I really proud of, we can match, and in many cases we overperform from the tech perspective, but from the business perspective, we understand, like, this is the indicator for us that actually the inference business is the combination, this kind of token factory type of the business is the combination of two factors. One, you need to provide a frontier performance to your customers. Like this is the beginning of any discussion. Can you provide me what I need? But then the second, this is the game of scale. And this is the game of, again, capacity. And can you support the growth of your customers? And we believe that we combine these two capabilities. And we, like the bet on Token Factory was that the combination of our scale and our vertical integration, that we can control the infrastructure and the needs, and ability to just do the right engineering job and provide the performance, will let us be very successful. And that's something we see the evidence at the market now. So we have the new customers that coming to the inference like Revolut that start implementing AI, and they kind of need the partner for this journey. We have the customers who already run inference at scale, and then we can actually improve their economics through the added services that we provide. And we have the customers that already on the market and growing, and then they need like support to their scaling. And here, combination of what we can do in the tech and what we can do on the capacity side is actually let us be in a good place. So sorry, long answer to your question, how Token Factory is going. It's going good.
This was better than what I expected, because you gave a lot of strategic insights. Because this is just, as an investor, it's beautiful to listen, because one of the kind of things that did not look great about Nebius when me and many others did invest is that on paper, Nebius had less capacity, less projects, you know what I mean? Like on paper, had less. But I was skeptical that just how much capacity you have is the only metric, because I thought, okay, this is such a capital intensive business in the long run. I think the question is who has the best talent and skills to extract the highest value per capacity, because that makes the ROI the highest, so you can compound. And what you're saying now is that basically if you can squeeze out the best performance out of the same capacity, you have a higher ROI on it, which means you can reinvest, you have more money to reinvest in new capacity, and this is kind of like the flywheel, right? But it all depends on how efficient can you be, right? And so,
at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. And I think all our business, like what customer wants from us is TCO, right? Total cost of ownership. It's at the end of the day, like people just think prices, but the prices is wrong metric. The right metric is total cost of ownership for the customer. And total cost of ownership is combination of a lot of factors, including the price, but not limited with the price. It's also the service that you provide, the reliability that you provide, like the number of the optimization that you provide, and so on and so forth. And I think this is something we really focus on, all the layers. In training, it's the same, by the way. In training, people say, oh, it's like, I don't know, $2, $3, $5 per GPU. But then when you run the 1,000 GPU cluster, how much you extract from that is very much depend on how this infrastructure is built and how orchestration works and how support works and a lot of things. And that was something that always kind of drove me like mad, that people were discussing, like when you do the deal, people discussing like 10 cents of the price. And then when they run, you look at the utilization, you look at the reliability, you look at so many factors. There is so much higher impact than these 10 cents that you spent weeks kind of negotiating when you were at the buying cycle. And actually the thing that really kind of made me feel better, that the customers who are like repeatable customers, who are not first comers in the market, who already had experience with us or not with us, they were so much better kind of educated and so much focused on, okay, show me the performance, show me the metrics, show me, like, I want to know how reliable it will be, much more than just whatever formal 10 cents of the price. And I think that, again, moving on to the next layer of abstraction, like token factory, but we actually don't speak about GPU prices. We speak about the token price. And
yes, exactly.
Like customers come and say, hey, this is what I need. I need this time of this performance, this time to first token, this time end-to-end time, and I want it in this price because my economics will work with this price. And then we say, okay, we can do it. And it so much depends on our like engineering capabilities and so on. So the discussion moves from what is the components price to what is the end value price. And
so you're moving from like a vanity metric to value-based
from
pricing.
From cost metrics to value.
I think that's another thing that's just beautiful, because value-based pricing allows you to still be competitive across the industry, but if and only if your team performs better, is more efficient, more effective, or more efficient, or both, you can kind of basically the overall pie gets shared between you and your customers.
You're much more you're much more on your destiny, because you can do like you can do the technical things, like you can
meritocratic.
That creates the value.
This is kind of why I'm, to be honest, the primitive side of me is this is kind of where the next 2 years I'm just chilling, and I'm happy to then tell people next, fucking told you. Like, because this is kind of where the execution where I think we will see the gaps. But let's move on. I don't want to get you in trouble, so don't comment on that. So going forward, I think you actually answered that question. My question was kind of like, why do you think customers will pick Nebius going forward, other than price? Like, what are some things, why do you win deals excluding price?
Quality, performance, customer experience, like all the normal things. I mean, price, honestly, I wouldn't say that we win deals because of price. I wouldn't say that we are like the super aggressive on pricing recently, partially because the capacity is...
you don't have to.
So we, not that we don't have to, but it's just... I think Mark told it. Mark, our hero, he said, I never in my life had to say no to so many customers. So we
had to learn a new skill to say no to customers.
So I think that what we try to do now is to work with the customers that value what we deliver. And again, there are different customers on the market. Some don't need what we believe we are good in.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We let them work with someone else. But for the people who value what we're good in, who value the service, the platform, we want to take advantage of that. And I think that the positive thing that, and it's not a secret that just where market stands, all this supply, demand, and balance is helping us, but it gives us an opportunity to move to this what we discussed, like value kind of driven, and instead of kind of cost structure driven discussions with the customers.
And talk about the platform. Can you talk a little bit about how do I say it? Tavily or Tavily?
Tavily.
Like how does that fit into Nebius offering, and how do you think about, because obviously with yourselves you have many great businesses that you incubated in-house. How do you think about not just them but in general, like acquiring versus building?
So it's actually two different questions, but let me start from the first one, where like why Tavily and why Agentic Search. Okay, Tavily is a great team. Just like, let's not speak about Tavily. Let's speak about Tavily is amazing, and we are super happy like having them, and they bring something that actually is very rare in this market. They field developer. This is about the team. They are amazing in getting to the spot and building something that developers love. This is amazing, by the way. This is something that like just handful of the teams in the world know how to do. But why Agentic Search? And this is actually opening the more broader discussion. What is the next for us? So think about layers of the offering we build. So there is a bare metal. We have Meta and Microsoft, big customers that come to bare metal layer of our platform. They consume those large clusters. They bring most of the software themselves, and they need like reliable infrastructure. Then there is hundreds of the customers that live in our cloud layer. They don't want to deal with the hardware. They don't have all the software. They want the managed platform. So they still come to rent clusters, but they want managed infrastructure. They want all the tools, observability, reliability tools, and so on and so forth. Then there is a token factory, when the next layer of the customers, they don't want to think in GPUs. They want to think in tokens. They want to have partners that help them optimize the models and so on. But it's not the end. The next layer will be, and already is, agentic. Why would you think in terms of Qwen versus DeepSeek versus Minimax? I have no idea what is the difference. I don't want to know what is the difference. I want to have my task running end to end. I want to build this agent and just run it efficiently. And we believe that the next layer where we need to deliver the value are the people who think agentic. They even don't think tokens. Because think like when you go to ChatGPT and you ask question, do you know how many tokens it generates? Do you know which specific flavor of the models it uses? Do you know which tools it calls? No, you don't. You just get the answer. And this is the future. Yeah, you get the results. And you pay for results. You pay for results. And there is a team underneath that optimizes to get the best results and the best price, the best budget. So this is the future. We believe that if you think about Nebius as a layers of abstraction. By the way, it's also compute in a way. It's also in a simple words, on each layer what we do is we help people to get compute, but we help them to get it in a shape and in the SLA that convenient to them, and we don't want them to take a burden of like thinking about don't want to think. People that train the models, they want to control what they do. People who build applications, they want to choose the model and control the tokens. People who build agents, they may not need to think like what model and how many times to call and what prompt to write and how many tokens to consume. So again, this is the long answer, but Tavily as one of the key components of agentic platform is just one of the first steps we do towards being partner for the people who build agents and don't want to think in terms of tokens. So this is how you can think about it. This is one of the components, and the hint will probably have something more. We need to have something more actually to support people who will build agentic on agentic layer. So this is and by the way, it's not like I'm hinting to something that we will disclose soon. Just the logical expansion, like bare metal cloud tokens, agents.
So you basically give the customer the compute in the level of complexity at kind of the highest level of complexity they can get. And the more that Nebius does for them, of course, I assume the more interesting will be the margin. But the more that the customer has to do...
it's the margin. It's actually, which is even more important. It's access to the new category of the customers and the again. Think about it.
Because if you wouldn't TAM expansion as well.
Yeah. If you wouldn't launch Token Factory, we could not work with Revolut. They would do something with the cloud small, but we wouldn't have business with them on a scale, because what they need is not clusters. They need this kind of inference platform. Think about like the next waves of consumption. They will not think in tokens. They will think in something else, like end-to-end agent runs. And I believe that our mission as a company and our kind of product vision is we'll need to figure out what is the right kind of primitives, if you want, that we need to provide on that layer. And again, Tavily is just obvious thing.
There's so many though, it's very complicated, right? Because other than with tokens, there's not a single unit. So for example, for me, if I would use Tavily, I might, for example, just random example, I might have an investment app, and I don't know, I want to have 10 hot stock picks every day. And then you would charge me per stock pick, not per token, right?
Yeah, no, again, search is the tool for agentic, right? Like for agent. So, and there is another aspect, I don't want to hide it. We were in search. As you know, a lot of people in Nebius...
You were the head of product of that search.
Had experience of building search. And we have emotional attachment to that. So at some moment we understood that in the new agentic world, there is a new kind of, the new search needed. And we kind of clearly understand that it will be different search than we used that we use now as a humans.
Mark Andreessen, I think, said that basically the difference between old search and new search is an old search, you type in a question, and new search, and then you get like 10 blue links, and in new search, you just get the answer. Done.
It's for consumers, but for the agents, it's even deeper, because actually, tell you as a product person in search, if you are the human and you got the wrong answer, you got pissed. You don't expect that you need to reformulate a lot of questions and so on. And we saw it on all the metrics, like people just leak because if you don't answer. Agents are different. You actually can send like many queries. You can send many queries in parallel and then choose the best result. You can reformulate invisible for the customer. You actually can optimize different metrics because there is a price, so you can optimize for less tokens, more tokens, structured answer. So many things.
Yeah.
And this is different product. So there was the piece
Also
of
really cool product to work on, I guess, just from a purely technical and product perspective. Quite interesting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So it was a little bit of emotional that we kind of jumped on it, but I just wanted to give a sense of thinking. This is a hint of more broad direction. We believe that the next wave of consumption will come from the people who think agents and want to optimize agents, and we as Nebius, in our mission, if you want, we need to support it, and we will need to figure out what exactly, like the shape of the product we deliver there, and we are thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're running into like time limits here. So maybe last question to close is kind of like, we kind of talked about this a bit, but like, so what is like the next, what are like the biggest decisions you're kind of wrestling with right now? Because so much is happening. Like, what are the main big long-term decisions? I know you probably have a lot of people in-house that are thinking, oh shit, we need more capacity. Then your sales team is like, who do we sell to? How do we price? But like you, from the product perspective, like what are you mainly thinking about how to integrate products, what to add, what to build?
Yeah. No, there is, first of all, I just want to say we are in the execution business. Like, a lot of things is not like what to do, but how to do it right. You can do so many things wrong. And I think we are very much in execution business, and there is a lot of non-conceptual questions, but like defining the business. But let's put it aside. If you think about like concept, I think it's two main dimensions. And they are obvious. The first is how you scale, how you build more, how you finance more, how you operate on a larger scale. So this is like horizontal scale. We are not, we even you said it, even being kind of in our camp, that you had concerns how large Nebius can be. Because let's be honest, we are in the infrastructure business, and nobody needs small infrastructure companies. You need to be large.
I had concerns how large you can be. I wrote an article, Nebius to 1 trillion.
Yeah, no, you said it in a positive way, that you were thinking, okay, they will have the best ROI. They may not have like biggest gigawatts and so on, but let's not go whatever. So the first dimension is how to be large, how to be larger, and how to grow faster and just scale. So and there are a lot of thinking around that on each layer, from like financing and which is a big attention from investors, obviously, how we finance the growth, how you balance different sources of the finance. And then, of course, there is a lot of infrastructure execution, and how you source the locations, and how you build fast, and how you build reliable, and so on. But there is a second dimension that I am spending time in and that's what we discussed. Our thinking is the customers and workloads are changing. 3 years ago, the only customers in the AI compute market were the labs that were training the models. Now we have people who train models, people who tune models, people who process, like building data processing pipelines, people who build applications, people who build agents. There are not only startups, not only super labs, but there are enterprises coming to the market and so on. And our thinking is how Nebius remain relevant, and how we build the next products, the next layers, if you want, of the offering to follow the changes in the types of the customers and types of workloads. And that's what we discussed about Token Factory, why we build it. And that's why we think about Agentic. And there are a lot of open questions, like what specifically it should be. But we understand that if we don't change if you don't add these layers of abstraction, if you want, I think about it. My thinking is super simple. We sell compute, but people buy compute differently. Different customers, different workloads require compute, provided them in different SLAs, different shapes, different kind of type of the products. And we need to build all those ways to consume and to run compute at scale to remain relevant. And this is most of thinking on the product side. So scaling and building these new layers of the offers. That's two simple jobs.
So keeping up with customers and building ahead of their needs and being ready when they need you. Yeah, this was amazing. I think you gave so much value and insights to investors who paid attention and kind of, I love this. This was great fun. Thank you so much for your time and all the best.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, thank you for having me.